Hello, Steeler Nation. Welcome to your Steeler Nation Vidcast, sponsored by Total Sports Enterprises and also sponsored by MyBookie.ag. If you guys did what I told you to do last week, bet Buffalo to cover, you'd be a lot richer, but you'd also have your double deposit down by using promo code Steeler Nation, all caps, all one word, MyBookie.ag. If we can't root for wins, might as well make some money. How we doing, Steeler Nation? This is your show. Obviously, last week was difficult to watch. Horrible to watch. As a fan, loving the team, this is one of the worst defeats I've ever seen by the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I saw it coming a mile and a half away. I was not surprised. I was not surprised that we lost by more than 14 points, which I thought was the safest bet on the card last week. Sad but true. When you're playing a game without TJ Watt, you're playing a game with the entire secondary banged up. You're missing two of your starters on secondary. You got the other two that are playing that are banged up. You got Hayward banged up. You got Wormley banged up. There was not a good matchup going against a team like the Buffalo Bills that got to convert a third and 98 on their first drive to put the first points on the board. Absolutely atrocious. We had a healthy secondary. There was no way that play was going to happen. And we had TJ Watt. There's no way that play was going to happen. But now we're looking at a situation, guys. We've been sitting, 3 weeks now without a sack, or 3 of the games now without a sack? I know we had a bunch in the first. We had 5 in the first game, 6. I know we had another game where Hayward had a sack and a half. Highsmith had a sack and a half. That is it. That is our stats for the year for sacks. We got one guy getting all the sacks. Nobody else getting sacks. Why? Because the best player in the league isn't even on the field. So we'll talk about that. But this is your show, Steeler Nation. You chime in. You tell me what you want to talk about. We're going to get into it tonight. It's going to be awesome. Tank! Welcome to the show, Tank. What's on the docket? Losses and dealing with them. So any questions that you have, Hank, come on back and let me know what you got. Rich, it's been a while, Rich. Good to hear from you again. Hey, Miles, it's time to fire Canada, Striker. Hey, that's a big problem with the team, and I understand why people are very upset with Canada, but that's still not my reason why the Steelers are 1-3. I'll be getting to that soon. Jay, welcome to the show. Kenny did okay under the pressure. Jay Warren and Pickens as well. Defense got owned. That's some great points, and that's something, Steeler Nation, that we have to take positives from. We've got a young team. We've got a young offense. These are 3 rookies right here that Jay just talked about. All 3 rookies made an impact. It looks like Warren's going to be our third down back now. He's doing a great job in pass pro, which is something that running backs have to do to get on the field, especially getting on the field at a young age like Jay. Najee's actually taken a step back in his pass pro. He's got to get better at that. And that's the reason why he wasn't on the field on third down and Warren was. Because Warren was stopping people from killing our franchise quarterback in Kenny Pickett. But still some good things to see out of Kenny Pickett's first start. Love his fire. Love his fight. He's not going to take it lying down. Guy's a competitor. Guy wants to win. And he's going to figure out a way to win in this league. And when he does, look the heck out. Look the heck out. But Pickens is going to start being featured more often as well. Pickett to Pickens. Pickens was showing up too, Jake. Excellent points. Perfect points. Michael Hall of Fame! I stopped at halftime. Nope. I always stay to the end. I watch every play. Never left the game early. Actually, once I left the preseason game early because I had problems with my business and I had to go and drive out and help them out. The only time I left the game early, that was it. I will sit and watch and suffer through the entire thing. But I'll tell you, I've got a secret. I've got a new secret, Steeler Nation. I stopped drinking. That didn't help me, though. I'll tell you what did help me. I started with a little THC cookie in the morning. That helped me out. That was it. Mellowed me out enough that I didn't have a heart attack by the end of the first quarter. That is my trick for this season. Probably doing it for the rest of the year until we get the best player in the league back in TJ Watt. Naya Guffin, welcome to the show. Steelers are my favorite, but I feel like we need Jalen Ramsey on our team to do, or what do you think? I would love to have a shutdown corner on our team. But Naya, we had 4 interceptions in the first game with our current crew. We didn't need Jalen Ramsey out there shutting it down. But now that we have all 4 of those guys banged up, 2 of them missing the game, we're not playing the same in the secondary, are we? And it's not because we don't have a Jalen Ramsey. It's because we're banged up. And now I'll get to my point too, guys. This is the reason why we're banged up. This is the reason. One reason only why we are 1-3 and not 3-1. Because I fully believe if this happened, we would be 3-1 standing here today. If TJ Watt did not get hurt, we're beating the Patriots, we're beating Cleveland. No problem. We already beat Cincinnati, who was the better team. He made sure our whole team was better. He gave us that win in Cincinnati. Even though he's banged up for overtime, he didn't come back out on the field. He is a difference maker, makes everybody on our team better. We haven't had, 1 interception since then? 1.5 sacks since then? TJ Watt is the best player in the league. He turns losses into wins. We would be 3-1 right now. Right now. Only loss coming against Buffalo, in my opinion. That's a tough matchup no matter what. Unless you're fully healthy with still the secondary banged up. TJ Watt is a difference maker. He allows Highsmith to run in untouched. He allows Hayward to run in untouched, being one-on-one on their matchups, because they always put 2, sometimes 3 on TJ Watt, and they still can't always stop him with 2 or 3 people. That's how good TJ Watt is. That's why he's the Defensive Player of the Year. Should have been 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Best player in the league, in my opinion. Best defender I've ever seen in a Steeler jersey. Like, I saw a couple games in my career, in my lifetime with the Pittsburgh Steelers that are, you watch a defender, you're like, my gosh, they owned that game. I've seen Rod Woodson take a game, intercept the ball twice, run one back to the house, completely win a game on his own. I've seen James Harrison, 3 sacks, 3 forced fumbles in a game that Monday night against the frickin' Ravens. Put on a clinic, absolute clinic in that game. One of the best defensive performances I've ever seen. But consistently, game over game, a guy being a difference maker every game, TJ Watt. TJ frickin' Watt. Watch the 70s games, watch the 80s games, watch the 90s games, watch the aughts, watch the teens. Watt. Best I've ever seen. And he's still getting better. That's why I hate a guy like that going down. What do you guys think, Steeler Nation? You think I'm crazy? You think we would have the same record if TJ Watt was on this team? You can disagree with me, but that is my take. And that is why we are 1-3 instead of 3-1. Absolutely. Miles, first round, we need to take a corner or offensive lineman. We're going to be drafting high. If we keep going like this, guys, we're going to be in the top 10, which means 2 marquee spots will be wide open for us. Shutdown corner, left tackle. You want a great quarterback? Left tackle's higher on that list. I take my left tackle 10 times out of 10 times with Kenny Pickett being a rookie quarterback, first-year quarterback next year. I am protecting his blind side with a high-caliber pick. Best left tackle in the draft. That is who I go for with my first pick next year, but would not be disappointed to see an elite corner as well. Good take, Miles. I always love conversations with you, my friend. State of the Steelers, welcome back. What's up, Steeler Nation? What up, State of the Steelers? You tell us how we're doing. Michael Hall, I predicted close 35-14, kind of. I was on the great friends with the Overdue Bills. They are phenomenal people. I'm on their podcast. I've been on their podcast since they started their show. So I think this is my 3rd year now doing their podcast. They're great guys. They love football. I know the 90s Bills better than anybody on that team. So like when we get on that podcast, I start talking 90s Bills and they're like, because I watched 90s Bills were insane. Such a great team. Playmakers all over the place. And still my favorite player in, oh gosh, why not Thurman Thomas? I like Thurman Thomas, but it's the special teams guy. He's always up for it for, dang it. But either way, I was on the show and they were asking me, Stryker, what are you seeing in this game? I'm like, guys, I was on your show last year, week 1. You heard me confidently tell you all that the Steelers were going to beat you. None of you guys believed me, but I knew going in week 1, we're completely healthy with that defense. We're going to beat you. And that's what happens. When this team is completely healthy on D, we are the best D in the league. I told him in this game, we're missing all of our safety. All of our secondary is banged up. TJ Watt is not on the field. This is going to be a laugher. This game is going to be over at halftime. Unfortunately, I know my team. It's a tough thing to say. I don't like saying it. I don't like being right. I would much rather have them come out and find a way to win the game than to be right anytime, because I'm a Steeler fan first. But that's a bad matchup going up against an elite quarterback in Josh Allen. That's the same prediction I pretty much made. I was like, what's the over? And I said, Buffalo might hit the over by themselves. They didn't. They were just under for the over. I think if the Steelers scored one more touchdown, they would have gotten the over. But they were under for the over. But I said, the safest bet, Buffalo to cover. You guys are going to win easily this week. Unfortunately, that's what happened. I hope you made some money on that, Mike. Richie Rich! Actually, you saw that loss from 214 miles away. Yes, I did. A little farther. I'm a little farther south down here in the Baltimore area. But yes, well said, Rich. Good geography. Distance between Buffalo and Pitt. Exactly. I picked that up right away. Jay, need defensive end and another star outside linebacker. Jay, I love our young defensive ends. Leal's showing he can play in this league, and he is a rookie. He is showing me week in and week out he's going to make plays on the field, batting down balls, getting pressures. This guy is on track to be a good player. Wormley's going to be gone next year. Okunjobi's going to be gone next year. Loudermilk's going to be coming back up in the system. We still have Davis on the practice squad. I liked what he was doing. We need more of a nose tackle, in my opinion. Somebody in the middle that can do a better job than Adams. Absolutely somebody that can do a better job than Adams. And you should be able to find a guy in that 3rd, 4th, 5th round. Should be able to find a guy that can lock that down. Ciao, Dad! How you doing, my friend? How's it, Stryker? I'm not convinced Najee's foot is completely healed. He doesn't look the same runner this year, and I don't think it's vision. That is a good point. I can't disagree with that point at all. You're right. He does not look like the same runner. I mean, he had that great touchdown in the was it the Jets game or their first home game of the season where he planted 2 people? Strong move into the end zone. Like, that's the Najee we know. Now he is looking a little lighter in the loafers. That might be a good reason about it, Chow. I like that point. We'll have to keep our eye on that and see if Warren gets some more snaps here moving forward. Jay, love your show. Thanks for the shout out. Always, hey, you give me great questions. You give me great points, Jay. This is your show too, man. Happy to discuss Steelers with all of my favorite Steeler friends, and thank you for joining the show. Miles, why is Johnson dropping so many passes? It's killing me. It's killing me because he has all the talent in the world. This guy is A-B talent-wise, because when he makes a catch, you're like, how the hell did he make that catch? And then he drops the easy crap. Absolutely killing me this year. It's between the ears. He's got excellent hand positioning. Love his hand positioning, actually. I was talking about it when we drafted him. I said, this guy's going to catch a lot of balls. Always gets his hands in the right spot. They're in a good spot. Elbows are always in. He's not dropping them that way. He's dropping them when they hit his hands in proper positioning and then hit the ground. And I call that hard hands. When I was playing receiver, we were taught to have soft hands. Give with the football. Sometimes it's tough because when you got to bring up your hands really quickly. That's why the toughest catch for me was always the comebacker. I'm running 8 yards, 10 yards, then running straight back toward the quarterback, another 2 yards on a comebacker, and bam, like I'm coming back. My force, my hands are all coming at the same. That's the toughest ball to catch in football because everything's moving against the velocity of the ball coming back the other way, and our quarterback had a rocket. So you had to get the really quick hands, or the hands to give quickly, and that is what is called soft hands. Definitely not the texture of your hands, though I did shake Brandon Stokely's hand once, and that guy was a heck of a receiver for the Ravens, and then for Indy, winning a Super Bowl with Indy. Shaking hands with Stokely was honestly like shaking a baby's ass. Softest freaking hands I ever felt on a man ever. The guy never did manual labor a day in his life, but he could catch a football. But for me, soft hands is giving at the point where the ball is entering your hands, so you're in proper form, already giving, you're not moving toward the ball, because bringing the hands out to the ball when the ball gets to you is going to put a ball on the ground more often than not. And that's his problem. I think he's got hard hands out of his breaks. He's get his hands there. Sometimes that's just because you don't have your hands in ready position when you come out of your breaks. But for him, he's looking at the ball. It's coming to him. He's got his hands out. He's just hard-handed it. I think he's hard-handed it. And that's a mental thing. He can fix that. He's got to fix it. Brian Davis, after a finish with my manscaping, I'll rub some beard oil in that beard for you, Stryker. Thank you, Brian. I love that. We will get to Manscaped, our other sponsor, coming up here soon. I'm glad that you got to shoot the dig at us first. That's great, Brian. Derek! Hey, Stryker, are we going to make a turnaround this season? Yes. When TJ Watt gets back healthy. Telling you, TJ Watt is an absolute difference maker, and he is worth every red cent we are paying him. He's worth quarterback money. Best player in the league, in my opinion. Absolute difference maker. This team is a night and day difference on defense with Watt on the field. That's when we're going to start winning games again. Unfortunately, it might not be till after the bye week now, because he got that arthroscopic surgery. I am fine with him getting the arthroscopic surgery. I don't know if he messed up his knee during his training and rehab. That is something that I haven't heard. I haven't heard what exactly the surgery was yet. I don't know if it was a soft tissue injury. I don't know if it was a loose body cleanup. I don't know if it's something like Ben Roethlisberger has gotten twice. He got 2 C-clamp cuts on his meniscus. What's a C-clamp cut? It's like, think of your knee like a disc. He had a little tear in it, like here, and they get a little cut around that tear, and they cut it out in the shape of the letter C. Pull out that piece, no more tear, then he's good to go. Usually it's like another week to 2 weeks for that to heal. That is an option of something that happened that he can return from quickly. He's obviously ready to go during the rules of injured reserve after this next game. So after the Tampa Bay game, he could legally come back. But the Steelers aren't going to bring him back until he can actually run on that knee yet. 2 weeks is usually it for arthroscopic. If it's something soft tissue, something light, loose body, as long as it was something they didn't have to redo, which I don't think it was ligament damage, that type of stuff would take much longer. Arthroscopic is usually a cleanup, meniscal, 2 weeks. Ben returned in 2 weeks from his. So, possibility. Absolute possibility of him coming back in 2 weeks. Love to see it. That might be where we start winning games. Richie, here's a question. Where's your depth? We see so many teams have young guys step in and elevate. Who do the Steelers have? Defensive line, man. We still got Loudermilk on that line. Interior linebacker depth. Now, that is a position that we haven't talked about a lot this year. Last year, we had 0 depth in interior interior linebacker. Sorry, interior linebacker. Inside linebacker. Inside. Why am I saying interior? Inside linebacker, we have a ton of depth this year. I love all the young guys. I love Robinson. Marcus Allen's still a good player. Spillane, he's 3 deep. He's a sub-starter with Jack and Bush. A lot of depth there. We had depth at safety. We had it. Absolutely had it going into the season. We lost Curtis Joseph. Not Curtis Joseph. The Joseph. We lost him for the season when we put him on IR during preseason. Then we lost KZ going into the season. We had incredible depth at safety. Since we didn't have those guys, now we have 2 safeties banged up. We look bad. Sure, Norwood can come in and do some things for us. Sutton can drop back as well, but depth isn't too big there. I liked our cornerback depth going into the season because we had 3 starter-capable corners: Wallace, Witherspoon, Sutton. Happy with them. And Pierre was on the up too. Pierre had a really good preseason. But now that we've already lost Witherspoon with that hammy, now that Wallace is banged up, we are starting to get exposed with Sutton and Pierre. We just did not look as good this year on those edges. No depth at interior on our offensive line side. I don't think we have a single person on that offensive line as a backup that would come in and play well. Green should be able to. Green looked like a turd in the preseason. Absolute turd. He's got to be better. We got depth at receiver all over the place. We got depth at quarterback. We got 3 guys that can run this Matt Canada offense into the ground. Absolute depth at quarterback. And I love our depth at tight end. Muth, Gentry, 2 freaking banger, huge receivers. Great receivers. Love both of them. Then Cotter coming in as a third, as an extra. Running backs looking good. I do like Warren as a backup this year. Snell is Snell. But he's still decent. But there are some spots. Every team has spots where they are not deep. And usually it burns you when you get a lot of injuries in those same spots. We've got a lot of injuries in the secondary right now. Starting to expose us a little bit. Jay, well said. Harrison, Porter, Ferrier, Foote, Watt. That's an all-star lineup. I mean, geez. You can still go off of that like Gilden, Kirkland, Chad Brown. I mean, Lloyd. I mean, this is like, this team has always been defense. Right now we got Hayward, Watt, and Fitzpatrick. Those 3 guys are Hall of Fame caliber players. Now I'm not even getting into the borderline Hall of Famers that will never get in because of stats, because of 3-4 stats. Guys like Aaron Smith, guys like Casey Hampton, absolute ballers. And they will never get in because they never got stats. And that's atrocious. Absolutely atrocious, because nobody was playing better than Aaron Smith. Some of those years, my gosh, was he amazing. Great, great player. That was the person that Bill Belichick was always the most worried about playing. We'd have players up and down this roster. Aaron Smith was the one he always mentioned. He's like, this league's got to know more about this guy because he does everything right. That is a Bill Belichick guy. A guy that does everything fundamentally perfect, and you can't counter it because he does everything so perfect. That's just it. Rich A, 90s Bills were holy crap good. Yes, they were. Absolutely were. Like, they had playmakers everywhere, too. Everywhere. On offense, on defense. You know, Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith on defense. Kelly throwing the ball to Beebe and Reed, who made the Hall of Fame. Lofton, who's up there, too. Kelsey, great safety. Why am I drawing a blank on the freaking kick returner? I freaking love that guy. Kick returner, punt returner, played wing. I swear he forced a turnover or blocked a punt or a kick just about every game. Man, what was his damn name? Man, it's going to bug me. One of you guys will get it for me. Dixon, welcome to the show, Dixon. What would your approach be with Freiermuth moving forward? At least 3 concussions since coming into the league. That is difficult. That is difficult. That might cut his career short, Dixon. Honestly, it might, because concussions you can't mess with. Really, you can't. Especially when it starts becoming a problem and a reoccurring problem. Got it. At least with the rules with concussion protocol, they've gotten a little bit harder to come back from. That's why Edmonds didn't play last week. In the past, even if he's limited in practice on Friday, he could have had a full on the Saturday walkthrough. Then Sunday morning, they're like, yeah, you're good to go. Nope. Can't do that anymore. It's got to be done in practice now. You got to have a full practice in. Next one, you got to have a full practice the second day. That's the only way to clear protocol. That's going to help. That's going to stop some people from coming back a little earlier than they do. Steelers also do this that a lot of teams don't do, Dixon. They do a baseline test to every player on the roster. Baseline test is something that you can measure against when you have a head injury. So it's like it's reaction test. You drop the ruler. You see how far it takes for them to grab the ruler. That's one of the tests they do. There's a couple cognitive things that they can do as well. Obviously, they check the pupils and dilation and things like that. But there are tests in place that the Steelers go that no other team does. If you can't pass these tests, you're not playing. So we usually don't have a problem with reoccurring quick concussions once one happens. That's why I was watching Fitzpatrick when he came back from his concussion this year, just a couple weeks ago. And he was fine last game. So that he played in. So well, let's see. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, Dixon. Thank you. Steve Tasker, the Taskmaster. Thank you so much. Absolute favorite Buffalo Bill all time. That guy was shorter than me and just unblockable on kick return, on kick coverage as a wing. They put 2 guys on him. He pushed the one into the other. Like, the guy was sick, absolutely sick at playing in that league. And honestly, I know a lot of you guys might be younger watching this stuff. Just do me a favor. YouTube Steve Tasker highlights. Watching him play special teams, to me, makes a complete, excellent argument for someone making the Hall of Fame strictly as a special teams player. If any of you guys remember Chidi Iwoma, he was a stud for us on special teams. Steve Tasker made him look like a rookie. The guy was just a baller, forcing fumbles on kick and punt returns, destroying people on kick and punt returns, blocking field goals, blocking extra points, blocking punts, running them back for touchdowns and kick and punt return. And then they throw him into the game and he'd catch touchdowns. The guy was insane. Absolutely insane player. Really, really a good watch. If you guys want to see excellent special teams play, Steve Tasker on YouTube. Look up his highlights. State of the Steelers, what are your thoughts on Diontae's season thus far? Got to get better. Love Diontae. You can't be putting football on the ground anymore. It's done. Your team needs you. Your rookie quarterback needs you. Got to play better. You're a leader on this team. Just got a new contract. Thank you very much for taking below league average. Well below league average. 13 mil a season, Steeler Nation. We were talking about 20. We were talking about 22. 13 mil a season. That guy is a Pittsburgh Steeler, and I will go to bat for him strictly for doing that. But you can't be putting balls on the ground for your rookie quarterback. Got to be catching those balls. Good point, State of Steelers. Richard Rich at Dixon Cadaris. You need to look at what happened. If they were normal, then you need to move on. Yep, yeah, true. Striker, Robert Tamburo, welcome to the show, my friend. I know you've got some things to say, and I'm ready to hear from you, my friend, always. Michael Hall, can you give us a full player injury list, type of injury, and as long as they will be out? TJ had a knee injury, will be out an extra week or two. Let me look up the injury list here quickly. I usually keep a spreadsheet. I did not keep one this year. Steelers injury reports, but I do have the injury reports linked. We'll check and see how we ended last week, and I'll kind of work out from there where we are now. The only guys that I know that are off the roster, KZ with that wrist injury, I expect him to be back around week 6, week 7 range, definitely back by the bye week. KZ took a terrible, terrible wrist injury, and we need him. We actually need him, especially for depth at safety. He actually came in and helped out in the slot as well. So that is a good playmaker that you can get back in here and start making some plays. Same thing with Austin. He was just taken off of injury report last week before the week. So he's in a 3-week window, 1 week down, 2 weeks left for Austin to be rostered. To come back, he can help us in kick and punt return. He can help us in the receiving game. So that's another good player to get back. Watt, obviously, we were talking optimistically about getting Watt back maybe this week. Didn't happen. But I think he had to sit out for 4 games because he played week 1. Then we played 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. One more game he would have to play to come back. So there was talk about him coming back after Tampa Bay. With that knee injury, like I said, I think he's out another 2 weeks. If nothing worse, he will be back by the bye week. Honestly, I think he'll be back completely ready to go by the bye week. Now, Witherspoon took a bad hammy and he pulled up. Those are usually 4 to 6 week injuries. And I think that one was week 2 when he did that. So we're looking at the bye week again for Witherspoon. Wallace played last week. He had a foot injury. Karen Sutton had a groin and a hamstring. He was limited, but he ended up playing. He was questionable, but he played in that last game. Levi Wallace with the foot, he played. Terrell Edmonds with the concussion, he was out. So I expect Edmonds back this week. Minka Fitzpatrick worked his way back from his knee injury. He's fine. Wormley worked his way back from his ankle. Cameron had an ankle and an elbow. He's banged up. He's playing banged up. Same thing with Mason Cole with a foot. These are guys that shouldn't be playing on Sunday. They're playing because they're trying to help their team win. That says a lot for a guy like Hayward, guy like Mason Cole, trying to do whatever they can to make their team better. But Mason Cole's playing hurt. Why? He's in a boot this week, and he's still saying he's going to play this week. He's playing hurt. He's playing with something wrong with his ankle. It says foot. Don't know what it is. Don't know what it is. And then Diontae Johnson had a little hip thing. That wasn't an issue. He was limited for one day. He came back. Not worried about him at all. So that's pretty much the rundown of what we currently have. Let me check the roster here just to see who's on injured reserve currently, who I've missed. Injured reserve. We talked about Austin. He's off of the list. He's in the 3-week window. Carl Joseph was the guy I was trying to talk about, but he was put on injured reserve before the season started, which means he can't come back this season. KZ can come back after. Really, realistically, he could have came back last week. He's still coming back. I said that was going to be 6 to 8 weeks. That might put us right to the bye. Anthony Miller's lost for the season. He was put on injured reserve before it started. Same thing with Jeremy McNichols, and Carlins Patel. So we're not going to see any of those guys back. The only guys we could possibly see back that we've talked about, Austin's in the window, KZ's coming back, and TJ Watt is coming back. Those guys, and I'm telling you, they'll all be back by the bye. So we might have to wait till we're 1-6. 1-7, right? We got 3 more games before the bye, don't we? 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? 1-3, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1-6. Might be 1-6 at that point, but could end up 10-6. We've got the right players on defense. Get TJ Watt back. I don't bet us to lose any game with TJ Watt playing. Any game. Even that Buffalo game that we would have played. Gotta head out, guys. Click that like button. This guy is awesome. Thank you, Richie Rich. Love that. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the questions. I'll see you soon, my friend. Go Steelers. Robert! Here we go, baby. We need intimidating side, both left and right tackle on offense and nose tackle on defense. Agreed. Robert, though, Chooks is playing well. To have a dominating left tackle is almost as important as quarterback. It's one of the most essential positions on any team, and our guy is below average, and we have no real nose tackle. Agreed on both of those. We talked about a little earlier. I don't know if you were on the show. Miles said for the first pick, or it was either Miles or Michael Hall of Fame, said our first pick in the draft next year should be a shutdown corner. I said, and I agree, I parroted your point before you made it. Left tackle is the spot to get. We're drafting in the top 10. You can get a stud left tackle, protect the blind side of your franchise, who is Kenny Pickett. Next year, we continue on this path. We might be drafting a top 10 left tackle, and I'm fine with that. Danny Waycaster, welcome to the show. Didn't recognize your name, but happy to have you. I believe if Kenny Pickett started against the Jets and Browns, we win those games. I had zero faith in one Reed Mitch, the king of checkdown land. I'm with you there. Danny, that was the only thing. That was actually the whole topic of my podcast, the Jets week, was you have to start Kenny Pickett because that is the best chance you have of getting a win. Unfortunately, we didn't start him the second half, though he got us a 10-point lead in that second half in the fourth quarter. Our banged-up secondary was the reason why we couldn't stop Zach Wilson from scoring 2 long drives on us and winning that game. But Kenny definitely did the work to get us that win. Injuries can screw you. Right now, we're in an injury bang-up land on secondary and on defense, and I'm not happy about it at all. That makes it difficult to play against anybody. I'm not happy about this matchup against Tampa Bay. I'll tell you what I'm rooting for. The only thing I'm rooting for in this game, Steelers ending Brady's career. I want to snap. That's the only guy I just don't respect. I don't like him at all. He's a cheater, admitted cheater, has been suspended for cheating multiple times. I'm done with that POS. Andy! Kenny Pickett played great. 346 yards, even though we lost. I would love to have the Steelers have Big Ben as the offensive coordinator, and being in Kenny's ear would be awesome because Matt Canada needs to go. Chase Claypool is driving me nuts. At 6'5", going up against the defender that are 5'10", beat him. But something has to give on this offense and needs to happen fast. Agreed. I said that last week. I said Claypool is playing below his side. That first interception that Kenny Pickett threw down the middle to him should never have happened. He was twice the size of the defender on his back hip. Didn't even make a play on the ball or attempt to make a play on the ball. He watched it. He watched the defender make an excellent one-handed interception behind him. He moves to that football. There's no way defender gets there. He's got to play bigger. He's got to not play like Plexico Burress, who, in my opinion, I always like to call him the shortest 6'7" receiver of the Steelers that I've ever seen, because the guy couldn't jump at all. His vert was like this. But he was a decent enough player. He's a big enough body, had a good catch radius. He just couldn't jump. Shortest 6'6" receiver in league history, I always called him. I gave him a hard time. But I don't think Big Ben would be a better offensive coordinator. Ben is my dog, guys. Rare dog sighting. This is Liza. Liza's a Brown dog, and unfortunately, she's a Browns fan. Yes, I love the Browns. They're really good. They're almost as delicious as your ears. Yeah, she gives me crap for the Browns when the Browns beat the Steelers. My cat gives me crap because she's a striped cat. She likes the Bengals. Good thing I don't have a freaking bird. Otherwise, I'd shoot it. Can't have a Ravens fan in this house. But that is Liza. Welcome to the show, Liza. It's your first appearance on Steeler Nation. Say hi. Hello. Hi. Linda Soon. Hello, Linda. Pizza time. I'm hoping for party time. We need a win. And this is definitely a lap dog. This is a Vizsla. They're nicknamed Velcro Vizslas because they always have to be touching you. So this dog is always in and around me in one way, shape, or form. Guys, it is that time on the show where we got to think about our MVP. Our most valuable privates and the people over at Manscaped to make sure that we are taken care of and turn our MVPs, yeah, you know me, into most valuable privates. So go on and get the platinum package. They got the lawnmower trimmer. They got the weed whacker ear and nose trimmer, ball deodorant, 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner body wash, boxer briefs, travel bag. Get it all. Manscaped for turning your player into an MVP. Yeah, you know me. You done with MVP? Yeah, you know me. Oh, that's good. But you can lick your own balls. Yeah, I don't need to buy that product. I can lick my own balls. You don't have balls. You're a girl. Oh, yeah. If I can lick yours. No, you're not doing that. Not doing that. Manscaped. Use promo code SteelerNation, all one word. Free shipping, 20% off. Thank you, Manscaped, for keeping me clean down under. There you come from the land down under. All right, back to you guys. It's your show. You guys know it. My gosh, Robert, you're going off. I got to find where you start. This is ridiculous. Steelers fan base are not from Pittsburgh to be pretending like it's not incompetent for a coach to have not seen these problems with the way the line is before the season began. Well, you missed the top of my show. Problems, injuries, not having Watt, and missing the whole secondary. Whole secondary's banged up. No way we're beating Buffalo. No way we're beating Tampa if we're still banged up going into this game. We need some help. Claude Bishop, welcome back. What's up, Stryker and Daniel? Welcome to the show, Claude. Robert, and if Mike Tomlin did see the problems way before the season began and didn't do anything about it, it's incompetent. So inadequate and incompetent both ways, including paid this D so much. It'd be nice if we had the best, highest paid player on D still out there on the field, because we'd be 3-1 instead of 1-3. That's all I can say about that. And honestly, Robert, we can't play hindsight. We can't play revisionist history. We went out and redid that entire offensive line. Kendrick Green's not even a starter anymore. We went out and got Cole. We went out and got Daniels. We were ready to go to this, made some moves to try to improve our offensive line. It's gotten slightly better. Still looks a little bit better than last year's, but still not up to the par that we would like to see as a Steeler Nation. I agree with that. Robert, as Kevin Colbert has pulled away from spending as much time as GM the last year or two, you could see more of Mike Tomlin's fingerprints on things. See, that I think you're projecting there. You're absolutely projecting. That's not the way Steelers do business. Colbert was the man. Absolute man at bringing in talent. I even thought Omar did a hell of a job this year, coming in with and helping out with the free agents after the draft, because everything up into the draft was Colbert. I thought he drafted well too. I like the players we got on this team for the draft. We're starting to see some results. Hell, might have our franchise quarterback out there in Pickett. Got to see. Chow, Dad. We need to get our defense backs healthy in a hurry. There's no way Spillane could ever cover Diggs, even in our wildest dreams. Other teams have got to be drooling at making a version of that matchup. That's called zone defense. It happened. I don't know if you watch more games than just the Steelers. You catch a team in zone defense, and they're chasing after a slot receiver. It happens in this league. We're not the only team that does it. It's called taking advantage of the way things are played and the way the matchups are and the defenses are set. They did the right job, went to the right person, made the right read, made the right play. Spillane wasn't the reason why we lost the game. Absolutely was not. Robert, TJ is worth every cent we are giving him, but someone's not worth the money they're getting for coaching this team's defense, highest paying in history by any team, and they're one of the worst run Ds. But still, our three keystone players, Hayward, Watt, Fitzpatrick, those guys are worth every cent. Absolutely worth every cent. We're not really paying an arm and leg to Miles Jack. What's he at, $5 million a season? Spillane's around $3 million. We went out, we paid Okunjobi a bit, though. I think we got about $8 million for Okunjobi. He needs to be playing better, especially now that we're banged up at nose tackle, and he's playing some zero tech for us. He's getting in there at nose. We got to see what he can do, maybe help us out a bit in that run game. Fingers that pointed just isn't a rookie quarterback and a Hall of Fame quarterback leaving problem. This is head coaching problem, if there ever was one. Mike Tomlin chose all offensive coordinators. I'll give you that. That is a fair assessment. It's the head coach's job to assemble the coaches on offense and defense to make a winning season. I like our coaches on defense. Jury's still out for offensive coordinator and for offensive line coach, which we're on our 4th and 5 years. It's tough. Bruce Arians with Scour's guy, but other offense coordinators and defense point their fingers are 100% responsible. Mike Tomlin's picked each one. Yeah, and the whole fan base is like, we don't want Arians anymore. Oh, he's getting Ben Roethlisberger killed. Get Haley. Bring him. Yeah, we got Haley. Never made it to a Super Bowl again without Arians. Made the Super Bowl in 2008. Made the Super Bowl in 2010 with Arians. Never made the Super Bowl again without Arians. In comes Haley. Top 5 offense, 3 years. Wow. Steelers put up more yardage than ever in their history. They're doing good now. Get rid of Haley. He sucks. Screen passes, bubble screens. Stupid. Get rid of him. Got rid of him. Haven't been the top 5 since. Whatever. Fiechner since then. A Fiechner and a Canada. Got a country and a Fiechner. Didn't look good. Bruce Arians. That's Cowers. No, he wasn't Cowers' guy. He was I think he came in as if you're calling him Cowers' guy, he was Cowers' quarterback's coach. Was not his offensive coordinator. Was Tomlin's offensive coordinator. You can't revise history, Robert. I know this stuff. Cowher responsible for Bruce Arians being a part of the Steelers. Hey, you can say that for what's his name too, LeBeau. You got a smart coach coming in afterward as opposed to firing everybody like coaches usually do. Fire everybody, bring in my own guys. Smart enough to elevate Arians. Smart enough to retain LeBeau. We won the Super Bowl with it. Made it to another. I'm not dissing those decisions at all. Those are actually smart decisions. Jason Pritchard. Was that hit a penalty? Which hit are we talking about? The late hit on Kenny? Yeah. Oh, yeah. When it happened, I was like, that should be a flag. No flag, and then our guy took care of it. That's like hockey rules. The refs aren't going to call the play. The players are going to take care of it. Because you're not going to mess up their franchise off a dumb hit like that. So, yeah, if you're talking about the slide hit on Kenny Pickett, penalty and a half. That guy should be fined for it, to tell you the truth. Might be. We'll have to wait. Wait till Thursday. Not including Tampa Bay, I'm saying Bruce Arians owns more Steelers Super Bowl rings than does Mike Tomlin. And Bruce Arians has won more Steelers AFC championships than Tom won. Tomlin, not Tom Brady, right? Is that what we're talking about? That might be who we're talking about. Yeah, statistically, that's probably right. Guy's a little older than Tomlin as well. Been in the league a little longer. That can happen in the coaching trees. Definitely can. Jay Nava, Tasker, ugliest helmet in the league. No, you're thinking of Kelso. That Kelso had the giant, Great Gazoo helmet, the old alien that when they jumped the shark time for the Flintstones. They had that floating alien with a giant helmet, the Great Gazoo. That was the Kelso helmet that you're thinking of. It was not Steve Tasker. He was a safety. Jason Pritchard against Pat. Yeah, right. Jason Ward, welcome to the show, Jason. They won't draft either a left tackle or a shutdown corner. Will go defensive line or linebacker. Now, here's the reason why we haven't, Jason. Past 17 years, we haven't had a losing record. It's tough to get an elite corner and an elite left tackle when you're drafting in the back half of the draft. That's why we don't go corner in round 1 often. That's why we don't go left tackle in round 1. I can't remember last time we went left tackle in round 1 because those guys go in the top 10. This year, we end up in the top 10. We're going to be drafting one. You bet your damn ass. We're going to be drafting probably left tackle first. Shut down. Oh, is that cat being mean to you? Oh, you poor thing. You poor thing. Cat's taking swipes at my dog. Robert, PA is blocker. Then Uncle. I'm not going on that one, man. That's a bad take. Bad take, man. There have been many records of Mike Tomlin has made worst performance since pre-Super Bowl era, and last game was just the last of his incredibly long list that's begun years ago. I don't see it. I don't see the years ago. I know a lot of people want to throw stuff on Tomlin. What I'm seeing right now is more injury than coaching. I think we just don't have the talent out there to stop talent. And we have a rush of injuries on defense. I told you last week going into it, 4 starters. 4, Robert, from week 1 on defense. 4 starters last week of our 11. You want to call Reed a starter? He's in for what? He's not. 4 starters. Jack, Bush, Hayward, who was banged up, Fitz. I'm sorry, the ones that weren't banged up. 4 fully healthy. That was my take. Highsmith, Jack, Bush, and Okunjobi were the only 4 starters that were 100% healthy, not on the injury report, going into last game. That's why I said we couldn't compete last week. Injuries are killing us on defense. Highest paid defense has to be a little bit better. Dream kind of true as a coach, giving great sound bites and interviews and being charming, and I truly love my media access to the head coach as a fan. I do too. I mean, I think I love him because he's as quotable as Lombardi. He really is. And you guys listen to old Lombardi quotes. I mean, he was a philosopher, student of the game. Tomlin is as well. I think Tomlin has the ability to get back on the winning train as well. And we got to see how our young quarterback will start developing in the system. Andy, if Kenny Pickett beats Tom Brady, it would be huge for him this Sunday. Yeah, it would, because that's something that even Ben, I think, only beat him once. One time in Pittsburgh, regular season, did we ever beat Tom Brady. He owned us. Tom Brady absolutely owned our team. Would love to see that. Robert, but I and we should not be selfish as fans supporting a guy just because he makes us look good and gives us lots of media. We can devour win. Instead, we need an a-hole who's better at actual coaching. Got you. Somebody a little meaner is what you're saying. You know, I still think he's getting our players to perform. Their only problem is our best players aren't on the field because they're on injured reserve or they're injured. Jason, I think they need to go after Deron Payne for the nose tackle spot. They have the cap room available, and there's not a ton of offensive upgrades they can do. Cam is getting old, unfortunately. Yes, but I do love the drafting that we've been doing, getting Loudermilk, Leal. I think we're doing the right moves. I even like the depth that we had, like the Davis brothers. A lot of you guys didn't like Mondu as well. I thought Mondu was a good player. We still had Wormley on the roster. We still went out and picked up Okunjobi. We picked up that other guy, too, in the offseason. I forget how that guy was. And we let him go like a week later because, like, there's no place to put him. He isn't an upgrade. Adams and Alualu. I expected more out of Alualu. Robert was right about that one. Alualu ended up not being a healthy coming back. And now we got Adams being the starting nose tackle. That's a spot that can help us, Jason. I agree with that completely. That's a great point. Mark Malone. Great NBA player. Yeah, Tomlin is a great coach. He can shuck and jive with the best of them. I'm not getting down with that stuff, guys. Come on. Mark Malone, Super Bowl team, Hall of Fame quarterback, and the best GM in the business. have 15 consecutive losing seasons. I don't know. If it was so easy to do, and if Tomlin, if Cowher was so good at creating talent, he would have won more than 2 AFC championships. That was my problem watching Cowher. We lost 3 AFC championships at home. At home. Top seed in the AFC. 3 of them we lost at home. That's the kind of stuff that pissed me off about Cowher. That's the way it goes. It's tough to win a Super Bowl. Absolutely tough to win a Super Bowl. Bradshaw was right about Tomlin. You can have that take. Absolutely have that take. Mike Tomlin is the most articulate wordsmith I've ever heard in any era as a coach. He definitely has his advantages, such as that, for sure. He's funny, media savvy, and gives fans more access. Definitely does. Definitely does. Bradshaw was absolutely correct about Tomlin. Yeah, I'm not getting into the race stuff, guys. I'm just not. Skin color has nothing to do with stuff. The guy is a coach, and he's a great coach. And he's got command and respect of not just every single player on his team, but just about every player in the league. You go out and watch the Pivot interview. You see one guy that he played for and Ryan Clark, and you see 3 other guys on that show that were great players that all wished they could play for Tomlin. Absolutely do. All right. So where are we going here? Nope, not getting into politics. Not getting into the racial stuff here, Mark Malone. You can pump the brakes on that. Nope, not getting into politics. That's a great take there, though, Robert. Aaron Smith deserves to be in the Hall of Fame almost as much as Joel Snead, even more a little bit than Casey Hampton. Yeah, those guys are great players. Bo, welcome to the show. Go Steelers no matter what. Black and gold, baby. And that is the one thing. Win or lose, I'm always going to be rooting for my Steelers. I'm always going to be here talking Steelers with you guys, too. Love our shows. But all we can do is cheer. More fans. We can have opinions. We can say things that we might be crazy or might be true. We don't know. But we love our team. And I know Robert does too. Robert always tells us at the end of the show, loves our team, loves our fans. Our fans have a whole range of different perspectives. I found that out, and I've been able to navigate that well with all of you here because I love my team, and I know you do too. We just might see it a little bit differently. Michael Hall, 25 years old today and watching your vidcast while eating pizza. Perfect day. Happy birthday, Michael. That is great to hear, man. Thank you for sharing your birthday with me tonight. Michael, Hall of Fame. 25 years young, man. You got the whole world ahead of you. You got plenty more Super Bowls to watch in your future, hopefully, for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll have to see. Robert, the 3 players most responsible for the Steelers' wins are Joe Green, Joel Snead, and Casey Hampton. So maybe I put Hampton in the head or tied with Aaron Smith, but I put Joel Snead ahead of all of them. Joel Snead was a hell of a player in the 80s. I did love me some Joel Snead. Great nose tackle. And probably under-recognized in the league because nose tackles don't make a whole lot of plays. Like they stuff the runs, they eat up blockers, and that's why our linebackers in the 80s were phenomenal because of Joel Snead. That's why our linebackers in the 90s and the aughts were phenomenal. Casey Hampton. Those guys. That's what 3-4 is supposed to be. Nose tackle's supposed to eat up blockers. Linebackers feast. That's been Steeler football. Absolutely Steeler football, and still is. All 8 Super Bowl appearances and 6 Super Bowl wins were most because of those 3 players who, again, are Mean Joe Green, Joel Snead, Casey Hampton, Mike Tomlin. You are the standard. He would get such. Problem is the league isn't a running league anymore. Absolutely right for those guys, though. Absolutely right. But when we're leading the league in sacks the past 5 years, even without a giant nose tackle, we're doing something right. In a passing league. Doesn't look like we're going to set the record this year. Not going to be 6 in a row. The problem began way before this season. Yes, it happens. It happens. Hindsight's always 20/20, Mark. Calvin Pittman, hi, Stryker. Do you think we can turn the season around and get a 10-win season? Yeah, I said if we come up, what are we going to be? possibly 1-7 at the break. We get TJ Watt back. I don't count us out in any game. Any game. You get picking a couple more games underneath of him, getting comfortable in the system. This team can go on a win streak and a big one. Get hot late, go on a tear. TJ Watt is as important as any franchise quarterback. Absolutely. He's the reason why we had a winning record the past 2 years. Ben fell off the cliff week 10 each season. Sure, he was undefeated his first one 2 years ago. As soon as that arm got banged up, he couldn't throw down the middle of the field past 8 yards. TJ Watt kept us winning, kept us in it, got us to playoffs. That's all I can say. TJ Watt is the difference maker on this team, Calvin, and we can get wins and start stacking wins as soon as TJ gets back in, because it doesn't matter who's there in secondary. If the quarterback only has 2 seconds, got to get rid of that ball or he's taking a hit from TJ. That whole team's going to get better as soon as TJ walks back on that field. And we're going to just be like, oh my gosh, this team's awesome again. We are an elite top 3 defense with TJ Watt. Without him, we can't stop the run. We can't stop deep passes, 98 yards, 67-yard plays. Why? Because they got all day to sit back there and throw. Put TJ Watt on the field, quarterbacks get happy feet. They do dumb things. We end up with 4 turnovers in the first game of the season. Interceptions. Plus the fumble that looked like a turnover. Looked like another interception, but it was actually a fumble. Yeah, this special team once you got TJ Watt on that field. Mike Tomlin knew the standard and would know, number one, it's about saying you have a standard. It's about doing it and getting the strong nose tackle and strong left tackle. We got to get better in what we have. Definitely do. Once you have a dominant left tackle, you start to see how great the weapons actually are. That's a big part of the game, too. And I cannot disagree with that. But I think we still have enough room with our left tackle and then helping him out, chipping him with the back, chipping with the tight end. That's how you get Kenny Pickett some more time. And how we even won a Super Bowl with Ben in 2008 with the worst freaking offensive line in Steelers history. That offensive line was god-awful. I think we gave up 10 sacks against the Eagles in week 4. And I'm like, no way is this team making a Super Bowl. Still letting up sacks, but Ben made plays on 3rd and 20s after getting sacked. That was amazing. Ben was awesome that year. Absolutely awesome that year. Once you have a dominant nose tackle, and the back 5 guys and your linebackers all start doing amazing. Yes, if we're playing the 3-4, we've been playing a lot of 2-5, a lot of nickel. Not always the best. Chris Taylor. Players can only run the current schemes, and ours is horrible. If our running backs can't force defenses to put one more in the box and get some good play action fakes, and our receiver core can't spread the field to our run game, then we are screwed. It's about the offensive coordinator, and he's horrible. I see what you're saying. There is some plays that I do like. We're doing a lot of misdirection. I don't know if it's too confusing for this young offense, or if it's too complex for this offense in general. But I can definitely see the complexity is there and the intent is there to get the ball in space to playmakers. We just haven't clicked yet. Absolutely haven't clicked yet. Claude, I see it. Robert is a diehard Tomlin fan. Right. Yep. Diehard Tomlin fan for 5 years. Again, saying only winning with Bull Carroll coaches and playing over the last 10 years. I hear you. And you can say that about coaches. Like, that's always, to me, like it's a lazy argument. Saying you won with that team's coaches. I just find that to be a lazy argument. First year, if they had success in the first year, you'd have more say in it. Like one instance I can actually give was when Chucky coached the LA Raiders to the Super Bowl, or was the AFC Championship game, was fired. Dungy was fired from Tampa Bay that same year. He went to Tampa Bay, won the Super Bowl against his old Raiders team. That was a team of like him going up against the team that he actually assembled. I understand that. The year after, a lot more say. But 2 years removed from Cowher. Cowher had a losing season his last year. Quite a bit removed from that 05 Super Bowl and the talent around that team. Ryder, Stryker, thank you so much for your show. You allow us fans to feel heard, listened to, and feel respected. Thank you so much for that. Hey, Ryder, I appreciate that. Welcome to the show too, man. It's the first time I've seen your show. I know you're as good as the rest of us, so I'm happy to hear you. I take all, as long as it's not politically motivated or racially motivated, you will get my full take on it. I will cut it out if I hear any of that stuff, guys. And I know you're all better than that. I know you're all upset. We cannot make it to those two levels and have me even respond to those types of situations, other than I won't. But as we see, we have different games. We have a lot of people that are rah-rah guys. I am very even keel because I've seen a lot of Steelers football. I started watching hardcore in the mid-'80s when we were bad. My first favorite teams were horrible teams. Mark Malone was the quarterback. Abercrombie was our freaking running back. I mean, the only thing you could do as a fan in the 80s was root for defense and hope your offense got enough to maybe win a game. That's what watching football in the mid to late 80s was, until we got Bubby Brister. Team lost the first, I think it's been coming up a couple times, the worst loss in Steeler history, the 51-0 to Cleveland. Next week, I think we lost 42-10 week 2 to Cincy. 2 divisional losses to start a season in 89. Came back that season, made the playoffs, kicked a field goal, Gary Anderson field goal in overtime against the Houston Oilers, who were also in our division at that time. Go on and nearly beat John Elway and the Denver Broncos the next week. That's how I grew up watching football. I was excited when he had O'Donnell. I'm like, wow, this guy can complete passes. He's accurate. Most accurate quarterback I'd ever seen at that point for the Steelers. Great player. Great player within the system of the Steelers. Unfortunately, he had a terrible, terrible Super Bowl. And that's what he's remembered for. Great show as usual. Thank you, Claude. I appreciate it, guys. And we're hitting the hour mark too. So I'll take your takes again. Then I Thibodeau gloss over 2012, 2014. I kept my mouth shut. Problems with many and him. And eventually we've realized how wrong I was first years about Tomlin. You can flip back and forth, and I understand that. That's his name. Crap. You got me. Yeah, you got it, Jay. I'm going through a couple other people here too, Robert. I know you have a lot of takes. I'm at the end of the show. Ben beat Brady's rookie season, and yes. So he beat him twice. The one was the rookie season, and then the second one was when Ben went short offense, and he was throwing short passes the whole game. We controlled the ball, kept him off the field. That was 15. That was because I was at that game. Yep, good call. Mason Cole is a bright spot on the fence as Dotson and the two tight ends. The two real tight ends, I got you. And, of course, George. Exactly. Ben beat Brady as a rookie, and again in 18, Hayden Pickett. Yes. Thank you, guys, at least for coming back and letting me know for that. Hey, greetings from Mexico. Hola, Daniel Sanchez. Good to hear from you, my friend. Welcome to the show. We have a steel heart always with the Steelers. And bad and good moments. Yeah. Bad and good moments. Correct. Correctamente. Mi español es así. But welcome to the show, as always. Love to hear from our fans from around the world. Steelamundo! How can anyone justify Tomlinson's playoff record? Well, I'll tell you one thing, and this is a stat. Playoff stats are one of the probably most skewed stats you can use to point to a good or a bad coach. Because the only way you're getting a winning record in the playoffs is if you win a Super Bowl. That's it. Otherwise, you're going 1-1 or 0-1. You rack up a lot of losses for not winning in the playoffs or not winning the Super Bowl. It's sometimes you don't even get a winning record for making the conference championship game. If you have a first round bye, you're 1-1 and out. You only get a winning record when you make it or win a Super Bowl. Just means we haven't made or win Super Bowls here lately. That's all that means. Ken Green in the pretend. Okay, we'll get to your stuff in a bit. I've got to get to other people for now, Robert. I know you're great to the show. How can anyone justify Mike Tomlin's playoff record losing games Games can't be the standard. And we talked about that. I just gave you my tape. And that's it. Bro Barry, and I haven't talked to you in a bit. Negativity and blame is low-hanging fruit. This team is young, still trying to figure things out. We won't be dominating teams until we are a well-oiled machine. Getting better and offense would be a big part of that. I got to see some, we should have started the Kenny Pickett era earlier. That's my only problem with this. The way we're starting to execute right now would have given him more of a chance during this tough stretch. He's learning in the fire. We have thrown Kenny Pickett in the fire to learn how to be a quarterback, and I hope we don't ruin him. What is this one here? Robert, how do you make live comments? You've just done it. Claude agrees with you, bro, Barian. Game versus Tampa Bay. I'm predicting a 24-21 upset. I've seen Brady kind of struggle, but then again, he might have ref help as well. Yeah, that roughing the passer, completely agree. That was a bogus call. And if I was the coach that lost on that roughing the passer in my press conference afterward, I would talk about how the referees must have correctly seen roughing the passer. I would have used air quotes that whole freaking thing. I would have ripped it. Like, there's ways you can get away because the NFL can't actually fine you for saying things sarcastically if you're saying them the right way. Because verbatim, they can't get you on. Oh, I know you're tired. It's been a long show. I'm sorry for that. Oh, thank you, Michael. Oh, great show. See you next week. Go Steelers. Woo. Good job, Striker. Thank you, John. Bro Barry is in denial. See, we got both sides of it here. Love that, John. We love it. I'll go to this take. Michael, you remember the Tampa Bay has Bruce Arians, who with a much lower pay defense has much better defense, and Bruce Arians has a reason to want to beat Mike Tomlin. Bruce Arians is no longer the coach. Tom Brady ran Bruce Arians off of that coaching roster this year, so he's no longer the head coach. Sorry, Timbo. Enjoy your day. Yep, Robert IDK. Yep. John Burns going to you. Striker, do you honestly anticipate real changes before the Tampa Bay game or the next games before the bye? Trying to think of the only big real changes we can make. Can't make him a wide receiver, really, unless we bring in Austin and we activate Austin, means somebody's coming off the roster. It would either be Gunner or Sims. Probably going to be Gunner, since Sims is still on the roster, and he got elevated for some kick and punt return. Defensively, I would like to see KZ get back healthy and get some playing time. I think that would be something that can help, but he's not back yet. Really, the biggest move we can make is getting Watt back on the field. That is going to be the biggest change in this team, is having TJ Watt on the field, wrecking people. Absolutely, that's it. That's absolutely it. Ron, love the dog. Oh, thank you. Yeah, she's such a good pooch. Look at her. She doesn't make noise at all. She's perfectly kennel trained, and when she's in the kennel, she doesn't make a peep. She doesn't whine. She doesn't beg. You forget she's in there. You honestly do. She's such a good pooch. Robert, it's hard for a 60-plus career good guy to hang in there with this team. Love them, but hate the standard and game for what this becomes. You're a 60-year guy. You remember the 80s teams, man. This is nothing out of the realm that we haven't seen, but at least there's a lot of youth here. I mean, even though Malone was young, like, we still didn't think Malone was going to be our guy. We didn't. We were all lamenting the fact that we didn't draft frickin' Marino. Then he beats us in the AFC Championship game that year. That was a fun one. Everyone, see you, Claude. Welcome and thanks for being on the show. Nice. Love you, Michael. Enjoy your life, and we'll talk more. And I really feel for you, Michael. To my middle name and brother, the Archangel Michael, is with us both. Well said. Well said. Michael's my middle name after all. Agreed. Well spoken out. I love that you guys were able to work it out in the comment section. This is why I love you guys, Steeler Nation. This is why we have love. We vent. We can be absolutely upset about the things we want to be upset about. I will give you the venue here to do that. And that's why you guys keep coming back. And then we all talk down, we get it out. Then we're back on the same team. Big podcast coming in on Friday. I'll have another one up. Make sure you follow us over here on YouTube, /Steeler Nation. If you're subscribed there, I actually air the podcast live, and you can watch me do it live. I don't take questions live. I take it from SteelerNation.com. Go on over to SteelerNation.com. Sign up for free football forum. I put up a thread. There's one up now. If you want to ask questions for Friday, if you think about it tonight, you think about it tomorrow, jump on there, join for free, ask a question, and I will go through it on the show. Nice, Robert. Good to hear. Good to hear, guys. CF Steelers fan. Yep. New head coach. Salute, Michael Hall. Good to have you there. And guys, it's your last one. Claude, it comes out usually it depends on my week because I run a marketing and promotions company and I'm kind of all over the place. I try to record on Thursday night or early Friday morning. There isn't a set time. I have more of a set time for the vidcast, which is usually Tuesday at 7, unless I'm traveling for work. Then it's usually Wednesday at 7. So one of those 2 days I will try to put up. I didn't get a tweet out today. Everything went FUBAR today. I couldn't even tweet out that we were starting the show at 7. You guys are already subscribed. You guys already jump on. I freaking love it, whether I'm going on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. I'm always seeing Miles. I'm always seeing Michael Hall of Fame. I'm always seeing Robertson Burrow. You guys know because you're subscribed. Love that. And if you subscribe, go to SteelerNation.com. Click on the podcast button up there. You can subscribe to our podcast. That's when you know it gets. They are the ones that actively put it up. I will usually have it active and live. If you're subscribed to our podcast, you will see it ding by noon on Friday. That will always ding through by then. Sometimes it comes through on Thursday night. Sometimes we don't air it on our page on Steeler Nation until Friday. And if I have an interview, or sometimes it extends to Saturday and we put it out on Saturday like we did this past week. But it's just the nature of the beast. If you subscribe, you will be in the know, and that is the way to do it always. So good to hear. New head coach Striker 7. I will take us there. I mean, I told you all I didn't want to be head coach, but if this continues to happen, I will throw my hat in the ring. I will show you how terrible I'd be at head coach. Claude Bishop, by far the best show on the net. Oh, love you, man. Love my Steelers. Love you guys, and happy to serve you on this show. Absolutely love it. Then we'll be able to tell the Patriots fans what time of day it is again. Love that take, Robert. You're ending strong, man. I know you went off the rails there a little bit. You're ending strong. Guys, this is your show. Last time to chime in. I'm going to go through all the stuff that needs to go. I talked about how to follow us on the great YouTube /Steeler Nation. Read our great Pittsburgh Steeler-focused articles at SteelerNation.com. Tweet us at Steeler Nation. Instagram us at SteelerNation.com. Facebook at SteelerNation.com. Follow us, the podcast, on Twitter at _SN Podcast. That's usually where I'll tweet out when stuff happens to Claude. So that's a good way to follow us at _SN Podcast. Follow your host, Steeler Nation Striker, on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok at SN Striker. I should have a banner for that. What am I doing here today? There it is. Now you can see it. That's how I spell my name. I haven't been posting at all these last couple weeks. I've just been so damn busy with work. We've been slammed with colleges. We're doing all of the University of Maryland games. We're doing all the Towson football games. We're doing all of the Washington Commanders football games. We actually came out and did a Steeler game. Lipton with the Plinko. If anybody saw that big Lipton Plinko board, that was my company that did that. And on the main walk coming in for the Steelers game. Not the last one, but the one previous. So that was a fun one to do. So let's go to you guys for the last comments on the way out the door. Micah Hall. By the way, I got recommended to you by my friends who know I'm a die-hard fan. That's great. Which friends recommended you? See, I'm interested. I don't know if they know me. I don't know where you're at, but if they're just watching the show and enjoy it, I'm glad that you're so fun and responsive on the show too, Michael. That's why you got your own nickname. You guys earn nicknames here when you're out here long enough, like Michael Hall of Fame. Bro Barian, the biggest indicator of us doing well is when we start to see good runs from running backs. Once that starts to happen, we should see positive results everywhere else. Absolutely right. Excellent take. Once the blocking is down, you will see some of these short yardage ones. Because I said, starting the season, We were negative yardage, 0 yards, 1 yards. Those were our rushes, max 2. Up to 3-4 weeks ago, we started turning those into 3, 4, 5-yard rushes. Got a 10-yarder in there. That's about where we're at now. Once we start doing these break yardage, that means everybody's clicking on offense and the system is starting to work. That is the indicator that the system is starting to work, Bro Barian. And right now, we're still waiting on it. Shit. John Burns, how do you stay so positive? Oh, geez. It's my genetic makeup, John. I am lucky to be born a naturally happy person. I am an optimist. I work hard at my job to enjoy life. I'm a Steelers season ticket holder. I've enjoyed a lot of good years. I know things could be worse. Still got my health. Knock on wood. But my advice at the top of the show, I told you, drinking ain't going to help you this year because it's only going to make you madder. So I started using some THC and it's actually helping out a bit. Makes it so I don't have heart attacks anymore during games. Michael, they just watch your show. Oh, cool. That's awesome. Bro Barian. And I mean, like, keeping other offenses off the field for long periods of time, making it so that we're the only one controlling the clock for the best of our ability. That's our formula. Spot on. Yeah, because that was the thing going into the season. It's like we had to control the clock and play well on defense to win games. Hell, we won a game where we were like, we had the clock for 15 minutes, a quarter of the game. Won the game against Cincinnati. Had a clock for a quarter of the game pretty much the next week too, or 20 minutes. Lost to freaking Jets. Was that week 2? Who did we lose to week 2? Man, everything's losing. I can't freaking even remember who we lost. No, freaking Browns. Damn it. Freaking Browns. Yeah, that one hurt. But guys, thank you for the great show, the great conversation, talking me down. This also helps keep me positive, guys. Being able to work through it on the show with you guys helps keep me in the proper mindset, continuing to move forward. Not even sure what my show is going to be about on Friday, but I'm going to take a hard topic this week, and it might be a negative one, unfortunately, because I hate being a negative guy. But thank you guys for joining us on the Steeler Nation Vidcast, sponsored by Total Sports Enterprises, sponsored by Manscaped, sponsored by mybookie.ag. I'm your host, G.Stryker, with John Burns, with the Bro Barian, with Michael Hall, with Robert Tamburo. All you guys, love you guys. Till the next time, I will be rooting along with you, as always. Go Steelers!